champion!
It's almost!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, the Olympics may have drawn to a close, but controversies and talking points continue to emerge from the Games. The USA athletics team has come under heavy criticism. Two reasons. They did not even make it to the podium of the 4x100 meters race and were disqualified. And Noah Lyles seems to be at the heart of this matter as well. Watch the story a little later on to know more. In another twist to the tale, Romanian teenager Ana Barbosu has been awarded the bronze medal after the USA gymnast Jordan Chiles was stripped of it. This following an appeal to the CAS. What has happened over the last few days and what are the repercussions of it? Has it ever happened in the past? And to end on a lighter note, we all forget some of our belongings while we take cab rides. Things like wallets, of course. But what about the Olympians? What do they forget in cabs? You will be surprised. Wait to know more. But first, a look at the headlines. Starting with cricket, Bangladesh has approached UN to retain hosting rights for the Women's T20 World Cup that's scheduled in a few months from now. The sports advisor for Bangladesh's interim government, Asif Mahmood, said they will discuss travel restrictions with the UN. Several countries, including Australia, the UK, India and New Zealand, have imposed travel restrictions to Bangladesh due to the political unrest. Over in Indian cricket, reports suggest Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma will be part of the domestic first-class competition Duleep Trophy, which is set to take place between September 5th and September 22nd. This is in the lead-up to Bangladesh's Test series, which starts from the 19th of September. BCCI wants all available Indian players to be part of the Duleep Trophy. Over in football, Manchester City won the Community Shield by beating Manchester United 7-6 on penalties. Alejandro Garnacho put United ahead in the 82nd minute. City's Bernardo Silva equalised in the 89th minute, forcing the match to go into penalties. City clinched the win in the shootout, securing the season's first trophy at Wembley. News from the Olympics. Team USA narrowly defeated France 67-66 in a thrilling, closely fought women's basketball final. This win gave US its 10th gold in women's basketball and helped them top the medals tally. Aja Wilson led US with 21 points. Algeria's gold medalist boxer Iman Khalif has filed a legal complaint against social media platform X. This over the harassment she faced because of the gender row at the Olympics. Khalif has lodged her complaint in France. Lawyers say she is fighting for justice, dignity and honour. And Netherlands women's marathon runner Sifan Hassan scripted history at the Paris Olympics. She broke the Olympic record in the women's marathon event by running 42 kilometers in 2 hours, 22 minutes and 55 seconds. Hassan also received worldwide praise for claiming her gold medal by wearing a hijab. France, remember, had banned their own athletes from wearing the hijab during the Games. When a USA team steps into the ring or onto a mat or onto the pitch, they are expected to win and most definitely make it to the podium, if not for gold. The sport doesn't matter. The dominance of US in major Olympic sports definitely does. No wonder they finished top of the points table with 126 medals to their name. That included 40 goals. But the top of the table finish wasn't easy. They were level with China. If it wasn't for the women's basketball team winning gold, USA would have finished behind China, despite winning 35 more medals. So clearly, all wasn't as straightforward as it looks for America. And the reason it probably got so close is no thanks to the relay team. In fact, the biggest setback came from the men's track and field events, especially the sprint, and a series of events where they were expected to win 4 gold medals. And what was the end result? Just half of it went in their kitty. Apart from Noah Lyles in 100 meters and men's relay team in 4x400, the US failed to deliver. And while Lyles managed to secure bronze in the 200-meter race despite having COVID, the 4x100 meter men's relay team did not even reach the podium. Why? They were disqualified. And what's more embarrassing, Canada won the race. No, it isn't a historic rivalry between the two neighbors in track and field, but this goes back to what Noah Lyles seems to have inadvertently or knowingly said. We'll come back to that in just a bit. But how did the relay team get disqualified? Well, it was because of this. If you can see that any clearly. A picture of this, of course, sums it up for us. The team wasn't just clinical enough the failure to pass the baton at the right point, of course, cost them the race. In the need to get there fast, USA's Kenny Bednarek got away ahead of his teammate, Christian Coleman, who was, of course, supposed to pass the baton. The pass, of course, couldn't happen in time, and you can see the fumble there behind me. And the exchange couldn't be done within that time, resulting in the exchange to be slow, and anyway, Team USA getting disqualified. That's what happened. But of course, this isn't the first time US has failed to pass the baton without a hitch. The country has a history of baton botch-ups. The same happened in 2008, 2016, and of course at the Tokyo Games too. The medals have dried up for USA entirely since 2008 in the 4x100 meter relays, and one of the reasons, of course, has been this. Something that is supposed to be easy and smooth, passing the baton, so it was bound to irk the fans. But it was downright infuriating for someone who's won this event in the past, Carl Lewis.
It is time to blow up the system. This continues to be completely unacceptable. It is clear that everyone at USATF is more concerned with relationships than winning. No athlete should step on the track and run another relay until this program is changed from top to bottom.
Now, I understand why Carl Lewis will be enraged. In the 4x100 meter relay of the 1988 edition, Lewis could not make it to the track even as the Americans fumbled an exchange in a heats and were qualified. But the Olympic legend made up for that botch-up in 1992 by winning gold for the team then. So clearly this is personal. Lewis's words do not just reflect USA's utter failure, but also point out that the team has only been showing that it is overconfident, but not delivering when it matters. Sure, they won gold at the World Athletics Championships, but instead of replicating that victory or focusing on doing better here, they're engaging in some banter that probably has come back to bite them. Which is where I get to the Noah Lyles and the Canada jibe. At the World Relays just a couple of months back, USA's Noah Lyles was asked if he saw Canada as a threat in the 4x100 meter relay event in Paris. And his response was, Canada who? So when Canada won the relay, it just added salt to the wounds of the relay team. A relay team that did not have Noah Lyles because he had become all too weak by the time he had finished the 200 meter race. So really, quite the taunt that they weren't expecting. Even Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, couldn't help but trolling USA and Noah Lyles in particular. Clearly, Lyles' past seems to have caught up with him rather quickly, even though even without his participation. And this proved to be another instance where all USA had to do was talk less and run more. It's the performance on the field that really counts and that matters at the end of the day. Sure, we cannot deny the spirit of combat that Noah Lyles displayed earlier on when he ran the 200-meter race despite having COVID. But this episode just brought it all to naught and just kept the trolls going. Maybe this Canadian victory is enough to give Lyles and his team, Team USA, a reality check when Los Angeles Olympics comes around. The twists and turns make gymnastics that much more beautiful to watch, because what is the sport without those artistic swirls? But it feels like there have been more twists and turns in deciding the winner rather than on the mat. Remember this image of a young Ana Barbosu tearing up just moments after celebrating her bronze medal. Romania was up in arms, and even the Prime Minister had got involved, threatening to boycott the closing ceremony of the Olympics, which they did. But there has been another twist to this narrative. America's Jordan Chiles, who you can see behind me, has now been stripped of her Olympics bronze medal. Barbosu has been given the third position once more, which means she's the new bronze medalist. So hold on, what happened right there, and what has happened over those last few days? This after the Court of Arbitration for Sport, or the CAS, gave the decision in Romania's favor. Now let me take you through the developments over the last few days. At the gymnastics women's floor event, Romania's Ana Barbosu was awarded a cumulative 13.7 points by the judges for her performance, thereby finishing right behind silver medalist Simone Biles and gold medalist Rebecca Andreda. Also ahead of fifth-placed US gymnast Jordan Chiles, who scored 13.66. But this is when the USA team intervened and made an appeal to the judges to review one of the moves of Chiles. The judges then reviewed the routine and ended up awarding Chiles 0.1 extra, which brought her total score to 14.7 and was enough to take the third position and push Barbosu down to fourth. There was, of course, fury in Romania that followed, and the entire contingent, and particularly their Prime Minister, who made a public statement that they would boycott the closing ceremony. Now, this would have been a historic medal for Romania, and there, of course, was rage because of this. They felt cheated. Romania Gymnastics Federation, on their part, went ahead to the CAS to seek a reversal in this decision. Romania's plea stated that while USA were well within their rights to appeal Chiles' decision, the problem was that USA's appeal came after the 1-minute deadline for any such inquiries. Romania argued that the appeal should not have been granted in the first place. The CAS has now ruled the decision in Romania's favor, which means the original judge's decision, minus that 0.1 addition, stays, giving Barbosu the bronze medal and the third position once more. But USA isn't done just yet. They have appealed again, this time to CAS, for Chiles' medal to be reinstated. So maybe we aren't done with the passing of the medals just yet. Now, has something like this happened in the past, especially in the Olympics? Now, from 1912, in fact, to 2008, we've seen 6 such instances of this happening, where medals were first stripped off, then reinstated to the same person. This because of IOC disqualifying the athlete due to a particular reason, and the athlete then appealing to CAS for intervention, and that having a final say. But unlike the past cases, this is a rather unique circumstance. At first, it was Barbosu who was the winner, and then Chiles after USA appeal to the judges, and now Barbosu again. So clearly, in the whole chaos that has taken center stage here, it is the two gymnasts who are experiencing a roller coaster ride of emotions.
I can barely express my emotions. I can't believe it. When I heard the news, I was afraid it wasn't true. And once I was sure, I hugged my parents and called everyone who had helped me.
Now, Barbosu had already experienced the joy and then utter shock on the recorrection of the points, the first correction, when the event had finished. And with the medal coming in on the final day of the Olympics, she clearly is overwhelmed. Meanwhile, the IOC is planning a reallocation ceremony to award the bronze medal to Barbosu. But with USA making that appeal to CAS, will they be forced to wait before another misstep occurs? Because Barbosu has already suffered one heartbreak. If the medal is taken away from her again, it just will not go down too well. It has been difficult for her opponent Chiles too, who's been just as devastated by the developments that happened from taking that podium for America to now being medalless. It's clearly taken a toll, so much so that Chiles has now decided to take a break from social media. But one reason, of course, has been that she has had to endure a barrage of online abuse, from racism to allegations of cheating. She, of course, found support from fellow gymnast Simone Biles, who referred to Chiles as a champion. And it wasn't just Biles. Another teammate, Sunisa Lee, also defended Chiles.
All this talk about the athlete, what about the judges? Completely unacceptable. This is awful and I'm gutted for Jordan. I got your back forever, Joe. You have all my flowers and you will always be an Olympic champion.
Now, Lee makes a fair point here. The two people that had to endure all the abuse and heartbreak were the two gymnasts, who may be stuck in the middle of this very unfortunate turn of events, but who shouldn't be taking any blame for this whole episode. Why isn't anyone talking about the judges? They could have been responsible in awarding the rightful points in the first place. But even so, despite that, let's say that never happened, but then sticking to what they had decided and adjudicated on later on. It was the poor decision making on the judges' part, and of course, redoing that and recorrecting it that has led to these complicated developments. Not two gymnasts who basically did everything they could to fight for that medal. Now, you'd think that an Olympian, medal winners in the most grueling of sporting disciplines that challenge your strength, stamina, willpower and grit, would be that way once they step out of the arenas as well, right? Well, guess what? There isn't much that would separate any of us here, you or me, from an Olympic athlete, especially when it comes to getting around in a cab. They're just as directionally challenged possibly and just as forgetful as we may have been many a time in car rides in the past. Remember the times when you left your wallet or maybe your phone or maybe that extra shopping bag only to call the agency and wait to get it back. Well, athletes, that to an Olympic medal winner, is no different. This according to a recent cab survey. So what are the items that they've been forgetting in their cab rides, and what is the other interesting tidbits from that survey? Here's a report coming your way.
A popular car agency thought it would be a fun thing to get a report specifically during the Paris Olympics. I get the reason. More footfalls, one of the most happening events in the year. It won't be a bad idea to get a pat on the back for what would have been one of the busiest times of the year for Parisians, and cab drivers in particular. The agency discovered one particular Olympic venue to be the most visited one. Majority of the riders ended up visiting the Trocadero and Champions Park. The events taking place around here were cycling, some of the athletic events like marathon running, and parts of the triathlon. But we know why this was most visited. Just look at the vantage points and the view. Stunningly breathtaking. The most popular tourist attraction during the games was the Eiffel Tower, followed by the Louvre and the Arc de Triomphe. Understandable, there were many events taking place at the Eiffel Tower as well. That made this much more appealing than it already is. One particular rider had visited 39 Olympic venues right through the games, the most diligent visitor of the games. The most popular restaurant that was visited by the riders was McDonald's. Talk about fast, greasy and incredibly satiating after having watched a day of Olympics. Or incredibly rewarding if you've just won a medal. Nothing else spells cheat meal like a burger and a side of rice. Which also happened to be the most ordered eats by the riders, a service the cab agency provides, followed closely by water bottles. But water was definitely not the fuel that riders from France, the UK and the USA were going for. Majority of these riders asked to be dropped off at Paris bars. But here comes the best part. There was an additional survey done on what items athletes, medal-winning Olympians, would leave behind. We've all done that on almost every ride. Would you believe it when I say a few of the winners forgot their gold medals and other mementos in the cab? Yep, that's right. Gold medals in the boxes, unique pins celebrating their wins, and the certificate of authenticity. Could it be because some of the winners, like badminton champ Victor Axelsen here, was not too pleased with the gold medal he won in Paris? Seen comparing that with the Tokyo gold he got. Or maybe he's just showing off. Either way, on a side note, the quality of the medals sure has come under the scanner. The bronze medal in particular fading and chipping away. But getting back to the forgetful athletes, one judo player left the uniform behind. And yes, quite a few athletes ended up forgetting their phones that held ticket entries to the venues in the cabs, only to rush back to it. Safe to say that they all eventually got back their belongings. And yes, that includes the gold medals.
Time for last serve. The Paris Olympics concluded with a stunning closing ceremony, and one man really contributed to a lot of that buzz. It was Hollywood actor Tom Cruise, who wowed everyone. First with that pre-recorded clip of him riding through the streets, and then of course skydiving off a plane. That was to tease the LA 2028 Olympics edition. But the closing ceremony was just as awe-inspiring. He jumped off the roof, rappelled down, creating quite the scene. Olympics having its fair share of stunts, courtesy, of course, the man who's invented it and signed his class all over it, Tom Cruise. But that wraps up First Sports here today. I'll see you again tomorrow, of course, with more fresh perspectives from the world of sports. But till then, take care. Bye-bye.